Welcome back to the Pro Sports Podcasters on YouTube. My name is Ron. Most of you know me as Kobe. And before I get into today's video, I want to throw out a special thank you to both Artemis and Daniel Flanagan, a couple of our followers here on the channel who shouted us out actually on a recent Team Hold video on YouTube. Team Hold, one of the members there, had asked if there's any, relevant information coming out through like podcast producers or bloggers, of course, YouTube channel producers on NFL All Day. And both of you were nice enough to mention this channel as the one to tune into. So I appreciate it. Thank you. Like I said, the more times people can get our information out there and share it around, the better, because we're just trying to grow this community and educate this community as best we can. Now, today's video is I really wanted to highlight a few quarterbacks that might go a little overlooked, and it's not based on what they've done in the past or what their overall potential is. It's actually based on situation. These are quarterbacks who are in a make it or break it year for them. They've really got to show out this particular season, or it's possible they could find themselves a backup somewhere else, out of the league entirely. Like, who knows what could happen to some of these guys. And these are quarterbacks that had a lot of hype coming into the league, and since being there have shown some promise, but not enough to secure their jobs with their particular teams. And it starts for me with Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts was almost seen as a stopgap to a number of people. He was seen as a quarterback that had potential, but maybe necessarily didn't have what it's going to take to be an NFL quarterback. There was some speculation that he might not even get the start last season, but now the Philadelphia Eagles have gone and put a lot of talent around Jalen Hurts. They did him a solid by drafting his favorite target from college last season in Devonta Smith. This year, they've made one of the biggest acquisitions as far as wide receivers go in the offseason by signing A.J. Brown. So they've got a great 1-2 wide receiver combination for him there. They've also got Miles Sanders, and Miles Sanders, to me, is an NFL quality 3-down back. Okay, he could be a bell cow for a team. Now, it doesn't appear as though Philadelphia want to utilize him that way. We've had a number of Philadelphia sports media on our Pro Sports Podcasters podcast. I've talked to a number of sports insiders when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles, and it appears as though their real purpose for Miles Sanders this season is going to be a hybrid sort of running back / fullback. Okay, they may be using him some to lead the way for designed runs for Jalen Hurts. Everybody knows Jalen Hurts is a very athletic quarterback. He can create with his feet, and it's possible they're going to ask a little bit more of Miles Sanders to be like a lead blocker for him in a lot of situations. That's not to say he isn't going to get his carries, he isn't going to get his receptions, but it's possible that a good portion of his workload is now going to be diverted to Jalen Hurts in order to see what Jalen Hurts really offers them overall as a quarterback, right? He's supposed to be a dual threat quarterback. Up until now, it's been a situation of Philadelphia didn't really have the necessary tools around him. If he can make anything happen, that's a bonus. But with the acquisition of A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, a full season under his belt, and now a rebuilt sort of offensive line and a strong defense, Philadelphia's got to be expected to challenge for their division, get into the playoffs, and make some waves. If Jalen Hurts can't make that happen, he could be gone. So look to Jalen Hurts to really put it down this season. This is a moment I would want to have in my collection at the ready for whenever they're playing against a team that they should beat. When it comes right down to it, and any divisional game, it's something you're going to want to maybe consider when it comes to looking ahead to things like Own the Moment Rumble, their fantasy platform, and challenges being actually put out themselves, like flash challenges by Dapper Labs. The next quarterback I want to look at is Tua Tagovailoa. Tua Tagovailoa had a lot of hype coming into the league. He looked like a potential superstar at the quarterback position. It's well known that he doesn't have the strongest arm, but that's not necessarily a requirement in this particular league. Tom Brady didn't have the strongest arm, right? It's all about what can you do with what you've got, and precision is more important than power in a lot of situations. Josh Allen was seen as a potential flop until, they brought in Stephon Diggs, and between the two of them were able to build a rapport to allow him to develop the accuracy required to be a top-tier quarterback. This is Tua Tagovailoa's year. This is the year for him to do that. They went ahead and they got probably the number one target as far as wide receivers go that could have been on the market, and that's Tyree Kill. There's so many quarterbacks that have moved around, wide receivers and quarterbacks that have moved around this offseason that opportunities can be had. Tua had looked to be a bit of a bust over the last couple of years. Now, some of that was due to injury. Okay, you can't blame him for when he's playing hurt. But also some of that was due to the skill positions he had around him. Well, that's just not the situation anymore. Very similar in respect to the Philadelphia Eagles. The Miami Dolphins went ahead and got his favorite target from college and brought in Jalen Waddle. He's got a full season under his belt. And then you add Tyree Kill, and you've got two of the most quick and shifty wide receivers in the league available to Tua. If his accuracy is there, if he can lead these guys with passes, you're going to look at a very dynamic offense. Very dynamic. It doesn't hurt, that they've got Gesicki as well, who's proven to be a very reliable tight end when necessary. So I like what Miami's got going on here. They're also in a relatively easy division, in my opinion. I mean, if you look at it on paper, you got to consider them the second best team in the division, putting the Bills first, them their top competition, but they're still steps ahead of the New England Patriots that are, in my opinion, still rebuilding. And of course, the New York Jets, which has been in bottom for a while, but have done a lot to kind of get things rolling. Next quarterback I want to look at that has an opportunity to really show it this particular season, but if he doesn't, it could be done for him. And there's been a lot of talk and a lot of activity and discussion around him during the offseason, and finally we got to find out where he's going to be, and that's Baker Mayfield, right? Baker Mayfield, finally, the Cleveland Browns are able to come to a deal with the Carolina Panthers, and Baker Mayfield will be the starting quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. There's some speculation that, maybe he's got to beat out Sam Darnold for the job. That's not the case. That's not what's going to happen here. Baker Mayfield, the way they structured the contract, he's going to be given a chance to prove himself in the regular season as to whether or not he's worth it to be the Carolina Panthers quarterback of the future. And the Cleveland Browns were so done with him that they're actually paying $10.5 million of his contract this particular season. So they're paying him $10.5 million to play for another team. So Baker's got a lot to prove. And he's been one of these guys that throughout his career, high school on, he's always had to prove himself. Now he's given another opportunity. And he's given an opportunity with some real quality on this team. Like DJ Moore is a wide receiver that gets overlooked by a lot of people. That's only because he's had terrible quarterbacks throwing him the ball. He's got the added bonus of having, in my opinion, the best offensive player in the league, Christian McCaffrey, at his disposal as well. McCaffrey has had injury issues. They're well documented. Anybody who plays fantasy knows the kind of frustrations he can provide you when he gets hurt, but he's had a long time off. McCaffrey's had a lot of time to recover in this situation, a lot of time to build himself back into 100% game shape, and I expect that to be the case. So when you've got a target and a check down opportunity in Christian McCaffrey, who on a 1 yard out can get you a first down, Baker Mayfield has every opportunity to succeed here. So can he do it? We'll have to wait and see. It's going to be an interesting one to watch. I really hope Christian McCaffrey plays a full healthy season. But again, these are quarterbacks that right now you can get their moments relatively cheap on the NFL all-day marketplace, and their quarterbacks are going to have some very easy matchups, partially due to their schedules and partially due to the divisions they're in, that really got to prove something, right? They've got to step it up. And then there's one more quarterback on this list I want to go over, and he doesn't have the same kind of opportunities or weapons around him that these other quarterbacks have, but he's in a situation where he's really got to do something because he's looked bad the last couple of seasons, and that's Daniel Jones. The New York Giants are not a powerhouse by any extent, right? They have not been developing well over the last few seasons. Their draft picks have somewhat underperformed in a lot of cases, but Daniel Jones came out on fire with a couple of big games, and then since then has been the forgotten QB for quite some time in the NFC. Well, this is it. This is a very important season for him. It's very easy for New York to let him go after this. So he's got to do something. Now, hopefully he's got a healthy Saquon Barkley, who really is the offensive star of that team. But can he get something out of Kadarius Toney? Right? Can, somebody step up and help him a little? They've done some work on, building up that offensive line a little bit because he's struggled with pressure, but he's also struggled with his choices when delivering the ball and turning the ball over, throwing some poor interceptions. Daniel Jones needs to step up. If he doesn't, 100% he's gone. And I don't know who'd be looking for a Daniel Jones at this point in his career. So again, I don't have as much hope for Daniel Jones this particular season, but it's not going to stop me from watching him closely the first few weeks of the season and seeing if there's maybe something there that he could muster in order to get that Danny Dimes moniker, back to the forefront and get some more attention placed on the New York Giants. Because right now in New York, the Bills are number one and they're in Buffalo. But when you're looking at New York City, the Jets are starting to get the attention just because of the acquisitions they've made. Some people would maybe want to add Zach Wilson to this list, but I don't, right? This should be a step-up year for him because of what they've put around him, but this is not a make or break year, in my opinion, for Zach Wilson. He's still got a couple of years to develop, in my opinion. He was seen as a bit of a project coming in. Again, we're looking at rookie classes where certain quarterbacks stood out, other ones had a lot of potential, and then others yet were just maybe projects. He has potential in that he's athletic, and he can create, he can scramble, but he still needs to develop, and this is not a make or break year for Zach Wilson. Let me know if there's any particular quarterbacks that stand out to you that you think we should have stashed in our collections for, say, Own the Moment Rumble, or for predictive challenges on Dapper Labs coming up this particular season. Until next time.